In today's video, we are going to be talking all about how to work with an SVG that has multiple layers and how to press those multiple layers, and also just how to layer HTV on top of each other. If you're new to my channel, my name is Leslie. My channel is all about crafting on a budget. I do Cricut and sublimation videos. So if any of those things interest you, please consider subscribing, joining my YouTube family, and let's just jump into this video. We're gonna start off by just cutting our HTV down to the sizes that we're gonna need. Make sure to cut a little bit bigger than what you need, because the Cricut tends to cut a little bit more up or lower than where it should start sometimes. So just to make sure that you don't waste any HTV, make sure to cut just a little bit bigger. You can use scissors, you can use a rotary cutter, X-Acto knife, whatever works for you. And if you have a cutting mat, that helps even more because you can kind of measure it out better. And then we're just gonna put it on our mat and we're just gonna press it down so that it stays secure. You can also use some painter's tape to hold it down and make sure that it doesn't shift while the Cricut is cutting it. And when you're working with multiple colors, if they're small, you can put them all around your mat. Just make sure that you arrange them on your Cricut like you had it on your mat. Also make sure that everything is mirrored because you are working with HTV. So you just press the 3 dots and then move it to the original mat, your top mat, and make sure to place it where you have it according to how you put it on your actual Cricut. I'm just gonna do that for each of my pieces, just moving it to the original first mat that I have. And at first I did this for all of them, but then I really thought about it and I realized that because I'm going to be working with glitter HTV and holographic sparkle, that I wanted to do those separately since those need different cutting settings than the regular HTV. So you'll see me put them all on the mat, but then I'm going to hide the ones with the holographic sparkle and the glitter HTV. Once I have them all ready, I'm going to press continue. Again, make sure they're mirrored before you do this. And then I'm just going to pick everyday iron on since this is just regular HTV. I'm then just going to load it into my Cricut mat, into my Cricut machine, and let it do its thing. And then I'm going to do my glitter HTV, and I'm going to go to browse all materials and I'm going to type in glitter, and then I'm going to pick the glitter iron on as my material. And glitter HTV is thicker, so I'm going to need that specific setting. And then for holographic, I'm just going to do the same thing and just pick holographic sparkle on. And then we're going to take our weeding tool and we're going to dig it into one corner and kind of lift up that corner and then peel the rest with our hands. Most of the pieces are going to be very easy to weed if you have bigger pieces. But once you get to like letters, especially if you're doing like a script typeface, then it's going to be a little bit harder. Or if you have smaller little dots or hearts, just make sure to be careful and kind of do it slowly. What's nice about HTV is that it's not like regular vinyl, so it doesn't stick to itself, which makes weeding it so much easier. And sometimes with these smaller pieces, there might be a piece that might have not cut well with the Cricut, so you're just going to take your weeding tool and kind of hold down that piece while you pull the rest of the HTV so that it can stay in place. And you're going to do the same thing with your script typefaces. You can use your weeding tool to kind of hold it, like press it down while you pull. That way it stays on the transfer sheet, which is the sticky clear part. Then we're going to move on to lint rolling our shirt just to make sure there's no dust where the HTV can stick to it. We want to make sure that our HTV adheres properly to our shirt. And then we're going to start off with the layer all the way in the back. So for me, it was this blue part of the rainbow, and this is kind of going to set to where everything else goes. And if you need to, you can kind of stack them all on top of each other just to see how they're going to look, but just press that very last layer first. We're going to take it over to our heat press now that we placed it where we want it. Make sure that it's in the middle and it's nicely even. We're going to move to our heat press and we're going to make sure that the snaps, the cam snaps, the metal cam snaps are out of the heat press so that it doesn't cause any uneven pressure. And then we're going to put a Teflon sheet on top and we are going to press. Make sure you check your HTV to know what temperature. For me, I just did 300 degrees for about 5 seconds or so. When you're doing layers, you don't want to do the full 15 seconds. You want to just do enough to tack it down. And then we're going to move on to putting our next layer on. Place it where you want it. Again, put the Teflon sheet. And then we're going to press it again for just about like 5-7 seconds. And then we're going to take off that transfer sheet and we're going to put in the next layer. And we're just going to keep doing this until we have all of our layers on there. Normally for glitter, HTV, and holographic sparkle on, you usually have a different temperature, but I was able to do them all with 300 degrees just fine. I didn't have to increase the temperature on my heat press. And also be mindful that some HTVs need to be a cool peel, which means they need to cool down before you can rip off that transfer sheet. So just make sure that when you're starting to rip off the transfer sheet, you do it slowly so you can see if it's peeling up. If it's starting to come off the HTV, then you need to wait until it cools down. And when you're layering HTV, you can only, if you're gonna put them like on top of each other, you can only do 3 layers of it being on top of each other, depending what type of HTV. If you're doing regular HTV, you can only do 3 layers. And now I'm going to put in my last layer. This one's going to go on top of my previous layers. And you can turn it towards you, the shirt, to kind of just figure out where you want it to be. Some transfer sheets are not as sticky as others. This was not, so I'm just using some heat tape to hold it down so it doesn't shift while I'm pressing it. So now I'm going to take the transfer sheet off my last layer, and then once you have all your layers, what you're going to do is you're going to put the onesie or shirt back under the heat press. You're going to take a Teflon sheet, you're going to put it on top, and then you're going to do the full 15 seconds of a press. And this is just going to make sure that everything adheres really nicely. And this is the final result. I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope it helped you understand a little bit more about how to layer HTV, but also how to work with different types of HTV all at once. As you saw, I worked with regular HTV, glitter HTV, and holographic sparkle HTV. I love how it turned out, super cute. Let me know down below any video ideas that you guys would like to see from me. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.